So my last question for you is, what is your advice for the youngsters?
For youngsters. Well, let's see. My advice for it depends. My advice is always tailored to what do they want? What do you want? Young testers want different things. Some young testers really want to be developers, and they got into testing because it's a way into development.
Right.
Sometimes someone wants to be a tester. They want to be a great tester. And so they want me to tell them how to be a great, and I can tell you that. I can tell you at least one path to being a successful, innovative, well-regarded a tester. One path that most people don't follow, and I wish more people would follow it, but if enough people follow it, then we won't need it anymore. So, I mean, I have different kinds of advice for different. So be more specific. What kind of youngster am I talking about? Am I talking about a 10-year-old kid? Are we talking about a 25-year-old out of college? Who am I talking to here?
So no, okay, yeah, this actually is a difficult one for me. And to be specific is, first of all, I don't see many people being very interested to get into testing, right? Like there aren't many people. And
Right.
I remember in my companies where I don't want to get into controversy, but yeah, where testers would be like, I hate it. And I would be like, why? And every time you hate testing, come to me and I'll probably lecture you a little and you would find some motivation for some more days to go on. But with everything that is going on, and you have seen more than me, like I wasn't even born when you got into your testing thing, right? Back in 87. And it's been an anniversary, right? 21st May just went by. So congratulations on that. So you've seen the entire dynamics, right, of the testing world. Because when I started with testing back in 2011, there wasn't much respect for it. There wasn't much money for it. Like I said in the introduction, there wasn't any pride. And people who were literally sitting on bench, like having no work in a company, would still mock the testers. And I remember the first time I took a stand, I was like, at least I'm getting some money for the company that I'm working for. And probably it is also helping you guys get some salary, right? Because at least I'm getting some money for and some revenue for the company. And testing is not that bad. So all these 10, 11 years I've tried to get some respect for testing, which I feel is not there as much as I want to be. Like, at least give some respect to testers. So, and with your stories that I was listening to, all your conversations, I could feel the same with you as well, right? And back then, how testing used to be compared to now. So, maybe any advice of what for youngsters? It could be anybody. It could be a fresher. It could be me. I'm a
As far
junior
as
teacher as
testing,
well.
if someone's getting into testing, what would be
Or
but for,
probably is
I guess
already in testing. So what would
I
you
guess
advise them?
I guess I would say anyone who gets involved in testing these days and has ambition and wants to make a mark in the world, make a difference in the world, realize that the testing field is a big fight. It's a there's a culture war going on in testing. And I am part of a small tribe in this large culture war in testing. There's not many people like me. There's not many people who support what I support. I'm not in the mainstream right now, because what the mainstream is DevOps type people who believe automate, and automate some more, and every tester should be a coder. And then there's another group, another community, who are the agilists, and they also are interested in automation, but their thing is everyone's a team member. And the prevailing idea there is maybe we shouldn't have testers. Maybe we should just have quality coaches. And maybe no one should really be a tester, because testing is everyone's responsibility.
Oh,
Which
right.
I think is toxic toxic attitude when you say testing is everyone's responsibility, because you get the same behavior if you say ethics is everyone's responsibility. Okay, ethics is everyone's responsibility. Now, because it's everyone's responsibility, nobody will learn ethics. Nobody will study ethics. Nobody will think about ethics. Nobody will try to be good at ethics, because you just say it's everyone's responsibility. That means it's no one's responsibility. No one has to try, because no one's ever going to get blamed for being bad at ethics. If you want testing to be done well, you've got to make it somebody's responsibility. Someone has to feel, this is my thing. I'm going to do it. It's special. If it's not special, why bother to even think about it? That's just human psychology.
With that sentence of your, this is my thing, this is my responsibility, you literally reminded me of me, because that's exactly how I feel. Okay, yeah, this is my
thing. That doesn't mean you're in a silo. That doesn't, Shruti, that doesn't mean you're a silo if you say it's your responsibility, because you're saying, look, it's my responsibility, but other people can help me.
Sure.
Lots of people can help me, and I can help you. The fact that testing is my responsibility doesn't mean that no one else thinks about it. No one else ever does it. It means that I live in a sort of villa of testing, and I host parties at my villa, and I prepare the food, and I make sure the roof doesn't leak, and I vacuum the floors, and then people come in and they have fun and they help me with testing, and then they leave again, and I do the dishes and I clean up. By saying it's my responsibility, I'm saying I do the stuff that's not that much fun. I get things organized. I do the paperwork. Other people can come in and not have to think or plan that much. They can be themselves, enjoy themselves, and help me test.
Yeah.
And I don't mind taking care of this and organizing things. I don't mind, because I like making sure it happens correctly. It happens well. I like that. I enjoy that. And I don't mind leaving my testing villa and helping someone in development, or helping a business analyst write a spec. I'll do that. I'll take a little holiday from testing and help people. But I don't I don't think of myself as a professional developer or a professional business analyst and spec writer. I'm not a specialist in those things, but I would like to try it. I would like to help out. So I'm not in a silo. It's not saying I'm in a silo when I say I have this responsibility. I'm going to make sure that this happens, and everybody knows it's my responsibility, so they can relax a little bit and let me take care of this, just like I relax a little bit and let them take care of other things. But there is this culture war. And I would advise people coming into testing that you're going to be forced to decide what side you're on. You know, what's your attitude? Now, I'm part of a culture called context-driven testing. And we are kind of, we're often accused of being arrogant. We think of ourselves as having justifiable pride in our craftsmanship. We think of ourselves as craftsmen of testing. I study testing. I study the science behind testing. I study different kinds of testing. I teach testing. Sure. I think of testing as a social science and a social skill set that also has technical skills associated with it. I study the mathematics of testing. I try to be a Jedi warrior, a samurai warrior of software testing with all the skills and kung fu of testing, so that I can do difficult testing projects. I can test things that are hard for other people to test. And that's what I pride myself on, is doing deep testing, whereas other people might only be doing shallow testing, and they're missing bugs that I'm able to find because I use techniques and methods that they don't know about, and they don't want to know about. They don't want to study these things, maybe. So that I'm in that kind of a subculture of testing. But lots of other people just think, oh, I don't need to be that kind of, I'll just be an agilist and I'll study all the agile terminology and all that stuff. Okay, fine. And other people say, I'm a coder, I'm just going to automate and do all this automated checking, and I'll be good for DevOps and I'll be able to deliver things quickly. Okay, those are actually three different cultures within the testing world. The DevOps and the agile culture are much larger than the little craftsmanship culture that I represent.
Yeah.
And the social science and philosophical culture that I represent, where amongst many other things, people in my part of the testing culture, we study philosophy, we study epistemology, we study axiology, we study ontology, we read philosophers like Karl Popper, we read sociologists, and study things like sense making.
Right.
We try to understand our own cognitive psychology. We try to understand biases, how to manage our own biases.
Right.
All of these things are important to a tester in my part of the culture. But I think we're kind of like Shaolin kung fu. We're off in the mountains compared to everybody else who are in the cities. We seem like strange people.
It basically started off as not wanting to have a testing team, because what do testers do? There's been a very weird transition, and then have testers who would do the manual testing as well as automation. So I was one of the people who got, I don't know, lucky or not lucky, when I was put into testing. 6 months was purely functional testing or manual testing, like they call it. I don't understand why manual, but I know it's a whole different.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, because I don't use the term manual testing.
Yeah,
I want to suggest three alternative terms.
And then I was put into automation because I asked my manager, I was like, I have a BTech in information technology. Let me do something with my degree. But then I don't take away, the pride and honor in being a tester, because even if I'm automating, I first have to manually test it or functionally test it. And I might not be studying all these psychologies, philosophies, or sociology, but I feel as a tester, I'm an archaeologist, and I need to understand what's hidden under these debris or not such debris, and figure it out for myself.
Maybe you're the kind of tester I am. I hope you are. It sounds like you are. I no longer use the term manual testing. I also don't talk about automated testing. If I feel like I want to say something that's like what other people call manual testing, I'm either going to say interactive testing, which means I am interacting with the product while I am testing, as opposed to not interacting with it because a script is doing something.
Right.
I'll either say interactive or I'll say experiential testing, which means I am duplicating a user's experience. I am seeing what they would see and feeling what they would feel.
Exactly.
Or I will say exploratory testing, which means I am taking control of the process. So interactive, experiential, or exploratory, I never need to use the word manual. Here's why I don't use the word manual. Every time you say manual testing, it sounds like you're saying, my job is pressing keys. Yeah. My job is clicking mouse buttons.
I think this is the exact reason why they never gave respect to testing, because they thought, what are they really doing? They're not using their brains. And you made me realize one more thing. Maybe they thought that if these guys are not doing anything, they're just waiting for the build. We are paying them X amount. They need to be coding something as well, so that we make the most of the money that we are giving them. You understand? I feel.
Oh, yeah. But of course, there's lots of things that you can do. Like, for instance, you can be creating test data.
Yep.
You could be writing down test ideas. You could be analyzing the specification. You could be talking to people. You could be looking at YouTube videos of competing technology. You could be learning about the typical bugs that are in the technology you're about to test. There's so many things you can be doing to get ready, to prepare your mind to test. And see, we can close it out here, because you keep saying about the respect of testing.
Yeah.
A big reason why testing doesn't get respect is because testing doesn't deserve respect. We haven't earned it. And this is a reason why a lot of people, a lot of experienced testers and speakers at conferences, they don't like me because I keep making this point that I don't think that they are earning respect for our industry. You know, if the only thing you know about testing is how to use Postman, and then you do a bunch of talks about using Postman, that's a tool.
Exactly.
It's, you know, useful to use a tool, but that's not testing. The
I think
essence of
they're trying
testing
to
is
seek
not
validation from the
Postman.
developers, right? They're trying to seek validation from developers that
Yes,
I know
right.
Java, I know Selenium, I know
They're
Cucumber,
trying to
I
be
know
baby
Post.
developers. They're
It's
trying to
just
be junior
validation.
developers. And of course, they're never going to respect us because we're just junior developers. So we have to earn respect by actually knowing what we're doing, and not only knowing what we're doing, but to be able to talk about it, to be able to explain it. And because most testers aren't able to explain what they do, which is, by the way, it's not a sin to not be able to explain
Many
what you
developers can't do
right?
that too.
It's not a sin. It's not wrong to have tacit knowledge, unspoken knowledge, but not have corresponding explicit knowledge. So a lot of testers do good work, but it's intuitive and it's good work and it's fine, except when it comes time to prove it, to explain to somebody who's not a tester. And then when you can't do it, they just assume, oh, anyone can test, you know, because I also can't explain testing. I must be as good as that other person who can't explain testing. So I found that by being able, I've specialized in explaining testing. I teach testing for many, many years. So I practice and practice and practice sounding like an expert so that I get the respect that I think I deserve. And circling back, I am aware that I have certain privileges. I am a white man with gray hair and a loud voice and an excellent vocabulary. I get automatic bonus points that you don't get. You can say the same words that I say, but people will look at me and go, he looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And you look like you're dabbling in it, but you might have the same thoughts, the same. So I'm aware that I have certain unfair, unearned privileges. And because I have these privileges, I have a responsibility to help others, a special responsibility that you don't have. You help people not because you're responsible for doing that. You help people because it's your pleasure. You like helping people.
Sure.
I also like helping people, but I believe, an extra responsibility because I've just been given certain biological unearned parameters. So I need to level the playing field in order to feel like I live in an ethical universe, which I want to have that feeling. So I'm not offended by, like a lot of other guys are, of this whole thing about, you know, privilege. You have privilege. I'm not offended by that. I feel like I do have privileges. I like having privileges. It's something I can offer to somebody else. I can help make their voice more strong.
Yeah.
I hope that I'm not hurting you by being on your podcast. I hope I'm helping you.
No,
Uh,
it was just
well,
a very pleasant surprise and an eye opener, right? Because it makes you understand that despite all the cultural differences or the biological differences, we still in every country, in every continent, are so similar. Be it the smiling aspect of females, or be it, you know, the combating tactics of males, or whatever, we are very similar. And be it whoever we are, you or myself, all of us just want to be heard. Is
we all want to be heard. We
what is
want to be loved. We want to be appreciated. We want to be forgiven.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants to be forgiven for the mistakes that we've made. We want to be allowed to be allowed to learn and to be seen as having learned, which I've experienced this as a father. My son's 28 now, and it's really hard when you have a child and your child is 7 years old, and you know your child at 7, but then your child becomes 10, and then your child becomes 15. And you suddenly just realize, oh, he's not 7 anymore. He's not 10 anymore. He's not 15 anymore. Now he's 20 and he's changing. But it's hard as a parent to let your child change.
Oh, yes. I get it.
You know what that child does and doesn't want to do, and it'll always be that way. But that isn't always that way. But similarly, as adults, we all want to be foolish when we start, and then to be forgiven and have that foolishness be forgotten when we get older. It's hard with the internet though, because
you can't forget anything.
Yeah, right. So but while I say that, I feel like, at least for me, I feel like I'm satisfied with my reputation. I don't mind that a bunch of people think I'm a bad guy. I don't mind that. I feel like enough people see that I'm helpful, and I feel like they accept that I've done good. And it feels good. Apparently, you think I've done some good, so that feels really good to me, and I'm grateful to been allowed to be on your podcast, and I hope you continue to do the good work you've been doing. And here's what I think is real special about you, Shruti. I need to say this about your LinkedIn post. I never see you argue with anybody, so you're not my culture. But what I do see you doing is, it seems like you go out of your way to find ways to lift everybody up. You want everybody to be powerful, everyone to be happy, everyone to be comfortable. You have this wonderful nurturing instinct, which is not me. It's not the way I am, but I've learned to appreciate. And even, I treasure the fact that there are people like you on LinkedIn. And I hope that you will continue to do that if you feel that that's right for you. I hope you're doing that not because you think that's the only thing you can do, but if you're doing it because you feel that's the authentic you, that's how you can help and serve, and by amplifying other people's voices, well, that's a wonderful thing. And I hope that I can bring positive attention to what you're trying to do.
Don't get me wrong, it's I don't remember crying in a very long time, and it's not that I'm crying because I got offended or something, but your words, this last bit of it was so powerful. And the fact that we're speaking for the first time, yes, you and I have chatted on LinkedIn, yes, you and I have been connected on LinkedIn, but the fact that somebody who is miles away, who doesn't probably, don't get me wrong, who doesn't probably know me or understand my culture, but just going through what I have written so far or done so far, he gets me in the right way. It means a lot to me. Yes, I always feel like empowering, and I have always tried my best to empower everybody, because I think all of us can be superstars or rock stars or whatever we want to call it that way. And it made me feel really special that somebody acknowledges that. And the fact that somebody is you, James, it means even more to me. So thank you so much.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you hear me, and I'm glad that I'm able to reflect a little of yourself back to you, so that you can see what you are, and appreciate that maybe a little more than you allow yourself to do on a daily basis. Once in a while, we need to be able to accept a compliment, and you just did very well accepting a compliment. So that's good. Well, I think you're going to do a lot of good, and I hope that we have more dealings with each other in the future.
I hope so too. Thank you so much. I took so much of your time, and I didn't really plan to take so much of your time, but I'm really
I want to
thankful
say
that
one
you
more
did.
thing, Shruti. I want to say one more thing. If you ever see me,
Okay.
if you ever see me misbehave, if you ever see me and you feel that I'm I'm wronging someone, that I'm speaking in a way online, let's say, that is not helpful, not constructive, I want you to talk to me. I want you to tell me, remember, James, when you said, I'm telling you now, I think you said the wrong thing there. You probably didn't mean that, did you? I want you to hold me to a nurturing standard online, okay?
I'll do that.
If
It's
you
an honor. It's an honor that
okay,
you said this to me. I will keep that in mind. And if I ever feel or see something, I will let you know. It means a lot. It's
right.
an honor. This is
Okay.
an honor coming from you.
Thank you for doing that for me. I will pay particular attention if you if you have any concerns about my behavior, because I aspire to be helpful, even though I want to be spicy and I want to be tough. I don't want to cross a line into accidentally abusing someone. And I think maybe you can tell with your different way of thinking than mine. I think you might be able to tell what I am unable to tell for myself if I've crossed the line.
Sure.
Okay, so
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
all
you.
right. Talk to you later.